work. So good.
So I was sent this video by two different people. I have explained to them, but I'm going to explain to everyone else, that there is often a nuance in some of the things that we teach, and it is definitely where we come from. I am not going to speak for Moxie. I'm just going to say for myself, my teachings come from a very consent-based center. And this is a moment where there isn't a clear right and wrong. However, I've been asked to give my opinion on this, and I will. I will say Moxie Rose is an amazing creator and someone you should be following. And just because I see things a little differently than Moxie doesn't make Moxie and all a bad educator. This isn't a negative ding on her. This is not me making this comment, is not saying anything about their educational style. We're talking about just one topic, and I see it very differently. Now, I do not believe in this term. To me, there is no such thing as passive consent. But I understand the notion, and it's very vanilla. However, I've actually made a book called The Vanilla Base, which we're going to be releasing soon, that deliberately teaches people that they have to put consent forward. And we're going to talk about blanket use here, and how many of you have been using blanket use more than you realized. Now, I have and will continue to identify vanilla lifestyle as the fuck around and find out lifestyle. And yes, I'm outside of a Home Depot because I'm looking for kinky apparel. Well, not apparel, but kinky equipment. But I wanted to make this video because someone really was curious about it. So sorry about the shopping carts. Anyway, back to this. So the vanilla culture is very much try and get in trouble. Our BDSM kinky culture, especially taught by me, is consent first. And yes, I ask someone if I can kiss them. Yes, I ask someone if I can hug them. There is nothing I do to another human being that I do not have consent for. And I know there's a couple arguments people can make about things that might not be consensual, and I'm not trying to get into that debate today. But I will entertain those comments if someone wants to pick on one or two things on a different channel. The reason I don't believe in this passive idea of consent is because you should be asking for consent for everything, even ongoing consent. And that's what I practice in my dynamic and in my ongoing relationships with people. I don't randomly hug people. This is a great idea of what passive consent could be. When someone comes up to you, puts out their arms, and they expect a hug without asking for it. Now, some people can argue by putting up their arms, they're asking for consent to hug because they're not just initially hugging you. But I've had people run up to me and hug me. There are people, and it's changing, that are now asking even for a hug. Even the first kiss should be negotiated and consented to. So where does blanket consent come into this? Well, if you kiss someone for the first time, it doesn't necessarily mean you can kiss them any other time. You should be asking for permission for that. And sometimes someone's not going to be in a mood. So I want to explain what I really want you to understand what blanket consent is in this, and we'll probably do another video on it. Think of taking a blanket. This is your blanket with that person. Throw it on the floor. So now, everything that you guys negotiate and communicate with that is ongoing, not a one-off, not we can try this, but you actually say, can I continue to do this? And they say yes, you can throw it under that blanket. But be careful with your idea. Just because it's under that blanket doesn't mean that you can't listen to the boundaries that might have been imposed on it while they were giving ongoing consent. To keep with the hug metaphor and the kiss metaphor, we'll do this because it's the simplest ones to kind of explain in a very vanilla way. So in case a vanilla person stumbles upon this, they'll understand it. You might kiss someone on the lips, but that doesn't give you the right to kiss them anywhere else in their body. So you can kiss them on their lips. And they might also say, well, I don't really like public displays of affection, so I'd rather we not kiss in public. And there's another boundary. Just because you threw it under the blanket doesn't take away the boundaries of it. The same thing with the hug. If you hug one person one time, it doesn't mean you have to hug them all the time. Have the awkward conversation. Have the I'm just not in the mood to be touched, or I don't like hugs. Even with a handshake or a fist bump, no. While it's a social norm, and I know there are things that are social norms, we don't follow around with that. I have gone as far as to unfollow someone who called themselves the kink consultant because they literally went against consenting for a kiss. They're like, oh, consenting for a kiss is so ugly. Oh, I want to be surprised by it. This is the reality of the situation. We need consent for everything. We need to teach our children about consent. We have to hold our partners accountable. There is, in my opinion, no casual consent. There is no assumed consent. There is consent or there is not consent. Now, does that mean if, for say, you go up to someone and hug them, have you violated their consent? Sometimes we don't want to call it that. I would call it more a violation of boundaries. But if you kissed a person, that would be a violation of consent if they didn't want it. But if you have a partner and you kiss, and then you should ask them. One of you should ask the hard question of, can I keep kissing you from now on? I like kissing you. Is that okay? I do that with my partner. We have to stop walking away from this idea that anything can be casual when it comes to consent. It has to be informed. So if you kiss a person once and get permission, doesn't mean you have permission to kiss them all the time. Now, some people might assume that they've kissed you once, you're okay with them kissing you again. This is a place where we're not negotiating right. We haven't put up boundaries, and we want to be mindful of that. There's sometimes an assumption that I hugged a person once, they're going to want my hugs all the time. Avoid that. Put it in your mind, I should ask if I have ongoing consent, so I can throw it under my consent blanket. I do not believe in accidental consent violations. I think that some people can accidentally go past someone's boundaries if there was never a negotiation, and then therefore is the problem. And by teaching things like this, assumed consent or passive consent, and all the other consent things I hear that aren't get consent, period, end of day, are problematic. And that's why I have a problem with them. Do they happen? Absolutely. I won't argue the point. My point is that we need to get past that. Let's put consent forward. Yes, you need for a guy who wears a free hugs and spank shirt, I will tell you, I've gotten consent for every hug, even if they came up to me. Can I have a hug? Yeah, sure. Do you consent to me touching you so I can hug you? I say that at events. If I spank someone, I need you to consent. Even though they came up and asked me, I need to hear them say that, yes, they're consenting. Make that what you do moving forward. Again, this is how I'm teaching it. I'm not the ruler of the world. I just think that consent needs that clear, crisp line. And we can't come up with terms that assume or, accidental, what are the other words? Presumed. I saw someone use, which is just like assumed. And anything that is not directly getting informed consent should not be considered. And think of blanket consent. A lot of you probably have blanket consent to hold your partner, to give your partner a back rub. Even that, I still to this day ask my partner, can I rub on you? Can I massage you? They are always looking at me like, yes, you can. But I also do this because I know sometimes we're not in the mood to have that done to us. Asking for consent, one of the sexiest things you could ever do. So be sexy. Get consent more often. Never assume it.